You know, it seems some people just don't learn, and nowadays it's like you cannot you cannot understand what could be real or not real, and in turn you don't know what could be real and not real. I mean, we all know that there are scammers out there, trolls out there that will use any kind of method they can to try to make you legitimately believe that what you're reading and what you're talking about potentially could be legit and real, when in turn it's not. It's all a lie. It's all fake. It's all just to push your buttons, get you worried, and get a laugh and chuckle out of your fears that you have, if you kind of understand what I'm saying. And I've talked about this before when I said in a video that YouTube seems to have some trolls among them, if you will. Trolls that are, trying to pose like them by issuing out, to, of all places, Google Docs. Of all places, Google Docs. Issue out copyright warnings and stuff. Saying, oh, well, this is being copyright warned or copyright strike. Just to get a reaction out of you because they're bored and they have nothing else better to do. And you know what's funny? Is the first time I could legitimately almost believe it, because I used the thumbnail to talk about the last storyline of Alf, the series and everything, and what it was really about and everything, and all that. And, I can understand that, but then when you put in the source of who's calling for the copyright, and it's WMG, Warner Music Group, you almost have to ask yourself, wait a minute, Warner Music Group doesn't own imagery of Alf? What the heck? And then that's when it hits you that it's a troll. It is a prankster. It is a scammer who's trying to basically cause trouble because they got nothing else better to do. Well, they tried striking once again, and they failed. Because now, not only did they post something similar once, but they posted it twice. Why? Because they have nothing better to do. You see, recently I did a video a couple days ago after I got home from work, and I talked about how everybody was reacting to the Brock Lesnar-Omos match becoming official at WrestleMania. Now, I brought up several names I tagged in that video, in the video, as well as on Twitter and social media. And I mentioned the fact that, these people, JD from NY206, Just Alex, Solomonster, OTR Central, and many others, I mentioned that you cannot blame them or the rest of the hardcore wrestling community, at being worried that this match is possibly a Vince McMahon idea, that Vince booked it himself, because even if it is, and it is, emphasis on that, a Triple H booked idea, just the fact that it's happening reminds them of what Vince did for years and years and years, time after time after time, in ruining the product by always having these kind of matches take place. And I said at the end, what they need to do is stop letting that fear and paranoia control them and think more realistically. And I said that with all due respect to those people, because I follow them and I enjoy their opinions on what they have to say. I really do. But the point is, that's all that video was, and I recorded it with this very camera. So you might ask yourself, well, what's the issue and problem there? Why would you get copyright claimed or copyright warning about it? and that's what's interesting. This is where you could definitely tell it's a bunch of trolls. It's a bunch of scammers. Because of the fact that when they sent out these docs, with these copyright warnings to me, it basically, yes, said the title of the video they were copywriting or pretending to copyright with a warning. But what's interesting is they had WMG on it. WMG as the reasoning. And I'm thinking, I don't have music playing in the background. There's no music that's owned by Warner Brothers or labeled and licensed by Warner Music Group, I should say, that's being played in the video. And this here, once and for all, tells me, and I'm sure a lot of you have dealt with it too, that we are dealing with a bunch of trolls here. We are dealing with a bunch of trolls, a bunch of scammers, you know, a bunch of people that just have nothing else better to do than to try to get under people's skin because they like to see them get worried and have a reaction. That's the kind of society we're in nowadays, folks. That people will do anything just to troll you, just to scam you, just to scare you so they can sit back and go, ha ha ha, oh, they fell for it, ha ha, oh, did you see the reaction, ha ha ha. They have nothing better to do. And if it's a bunch of kids who, believe it or not, they do have the means to make these kind of things occur, I'll tell you right now, the parents, and I say it with all due respect, no offense, they need to get on those kids. They need to get on their kids and they need to teach them a lesson. They need to get them out of the house and teach and get them to doing extracurricular activities that basically get their mind off doing this kind of stuff. Because this is not YouTube. You can make it look all official and everything, you know, and put the address and all that, but that's not YouTube. YouTube, as I mentioned before, will email you. They will email you, you know, a copyright, you know, claim. They will message you. They will email you a copyright claim and tell you that basically, you know, this video is claimed. And one, it's either not going to affect your video and it's still viewable, you just won't make ad revenue off it, or revenue period. Or two, they will say that your video has been claimed and blocked in certain regions of the world, if not most of the world, and that you have to change it or basically take it off and, you know, take it off and maybe put it someplace else. You know, that's what they will do. They will not come out through Google Docs of all things, and tell you this is what's going on. That is a load of BS. And you know what's funny is last night YouTube was kind of acting up a little bit. You know, they were kind of acting up late last night. And I would not be surprised if maybe they're fixing these issues. That maybe they're realizing people like me are not the only ones getting these claims. I guarantee you there are some in YouTube itself that have their own YouTube channels, maybe even channels that help promote, you know, the site itself and Google itself. And they're probably noticing something similar, and they're basically going like, hey, something's not right here. We need to fix this. We need to address this. And hopefully they did. Hopefully last night's little situation was one way for them to, you know, where YouTube was kind of acting up, certain things were not working for a brief period. Hopefully that was their way of saying, yeah, we need to address what's going on here and prevent these trolls, these scammers from basically pulling everybody's leg because they got nothing else better to do. And look, here's my message, and I know I'm not the only one that's trying to send a message out to these people, because I know I'm not the only one that has dealt with this, if you will. I know I'm not the only one that has, you know, dealt with this and everything. But that was just the bus I would have taken to get here at this time. Just didn't want to take no chances. But the point I'm getting at, getting back on topic, you know, the message I have to these people, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that's trying to, you know, ask, you know, send a message and ask this question to those that are doing this. But what is it going to take? What is it going to take for you guys, for you people, to stop trolling and stop scamming people and stop tricking people into thinking it's YouTube sending them these copyright warnings through Google Docs, you know, when pretty much they can see for themselves that it's not even real. You're trying to make it real, give you credit there, but it's not. You're like, what is it going to take? What is it going to take for you guys to stop? And you know, one time I told Animat in a letter I sent to him when he used to do his unboxings and unpackagings, you know, because he dealt with it too, you know, Matt Brunette of Animation Look Back, you know, classic reviews and all that. You know, he dealt with something similar at one point, and I told him basically that what I think it was and was just a bunch of trolls that wanted nothing more than for YouTube to give them what they wanted. And what do they want YouTube to give them? Well, what did I say that I believe they wanted YouTube to give them to get off of Animat's case, or what they wanted Animat to give them to get them off his case? Quite simple. All they really want nowadays, you know, back then and nowadays, is nothing more than for YouTube and all the users here on YouTube to basically go out and say, hey, ladies and gentlemen, let's give you some XXX lesbian action, or XXX tits and booby action, or tits and ass action. You know, that's what they want. That's what they want. And you know how I know this? Because at one time I looked online when this started happening years ago. Like I said, around the time I sent a package to Matt Burnett, Animat, and you know, apparently somebody did some research, and they found out that a majority of those that do these troll jobs, do these pranks, do these scammings, do these tricks, if you will, are basically a certain age group of people, maybe boys, young men, and that they're only doing it because they want YouTube and the users to let loose and give them what they want. Give them the tits and ass. You know, give them the lesbian action, the eroticism. That's what they want. And if that's what they want, then as I've said before to them, you know, if they're listening, go to YouTube itself, go to Google itself. Go to them and say, hey, you want us to stop pretending to be you and scamming and tricking people? Give us this and we'll shut up. That's all they have to do. I mean, honestly, they probably know YouTube and Google will say, oh, heck no, we're not doing that. You're out of your mind. But that's what they want. That's what they want. And they're not going to stop until they get it. And again, I guarantee you I'm not the only one that's dealing with this. I guarantee you I'm not the only one that's dealing with this. Angry Joe, who I super chatted a couple of Q&A questions yesterday, he's probably dealing with it. I guarantee you, James Rolfe, the Angry Video Game Nerd, who recently put out his Kid Icarus review, I'm sure he's dealing with it. There's no doubt. There's no doubt in my mind they're dealing with it. The point I'm trying to get at is this doesn't need to happen. This doesn't need to be a thing. And I'm hoping after last night's little I would assume maintenance check, because there were some features on YouTube that were not working correctly. I'm hoping after last night's little, you know, hiccup, if you will, checkup, if you will, maintenance check, that these issues get addressed. Because I guarantee you, YouTube and Google do not like the idea that people are masquerading as them and scamming and tricking people and trolling them just because they got nothing else to do. So I hope and pray this comes to an end, because this needs to stop. And there's an old saying too, that if you don't like what people are talking about, you know, in the videos and everything, then don't watch. If you don't like it, don't watch it. You know, that's about it. That's about it. But again, I don't know why they do this. You know, I know some people might say, well, maybe it's YouTube's algorithm, the bots and everything that are screwing up. Hey, I'm not going to say that's not the case. I'm not saying it. But come on, even those things, the algorithm and the bots, they even know better. I mean, seriously, they know better. All this really is, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion, and I'm not alone in believing this, is nothing more than a bunch of young people, men, women, whatever, that are trying to scam, troll, and trick people into thinking something is real when it's not. And honestly, as I've said before, they need to stop. They need to stop and get on with their lives. That's what they need to do. And I hope and pray YouTube, Google is going to address this, because, like I said, I've got a feeling they have people that work for them themselves that are probably getting these kind of things in the Google Docs and all that, thinking, what the heck is this about? And then maybe realizing as well, oh, it's a bunch of scammers, it's a bunch of trolls. So, yeah, hopefully this comes to an end. And Google, YouTube, hopefully you guys, your maintenance team and everything can have or can and will take care of it. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Let me know if you've dealt with this, or you would look at your Google Docs and see something that doesn't make any sense when it comes to, let's say, a copyright warning. Let me know if you've dealt with it to where you'll look at something that might seemingly look real and all that, but in the end it's not, because of certain details that don't add up, don't sync up, if you will. Give me your thoughts down below, as well as in the live chat during the premiere. Like the video, click on the upper right hand corner, upper left hand corner I should say, of the screen to support me with my Teespring store on this video and other videos as well. Also, ladies and gentlemen, check me out at BW Rose's Discussions and all your favorite audio podcast locations except for Pandora, where you will get an audio podcast version of this later on. Also, ladies and gentlemen, support me at DeviantArt.com, says BVW1979. Also support me at VENMO at BW Roses as well. Also check me out at Patreon.com at BW Roses. For the $1 or $3 tier. And also support me over at Venmo at Brian-Walmer-2 and Cash App at BW Roses 98. But guys, give me your thoughts. Let me know if you've dealt with this before, where you will get a message from, in your email that says, oh, Google Docs sent you a copyright warning from YouTube, and it's not even a legit one because things don't add up. Let me know if it's happened to you, and until next time, I'll talk to you later.